That's the way free agency goes. Sometimes you get them in hot and heavy. Sometimes you don't get no news at all. Cleveland Browns haven't heard any news since yesterday when they signed defensive tackle from the Minnesota Vikings, Tomlinson. We will talk about his impact and what that means for the Cleveland Browns. A D tackle, 2 positions right now that you've covered, edge rusher, defensive tackles. We'll say what that means for the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield moving on to a new team, and Jacoby Brissett moving on to a new team. We'll tell you what team he's going to be moving on to and how that affects the Cleveland Browns and what they want to do at the backup quarterback position. And then we'll do what we do best. We'll update you on who's left, who the best of the rest, available names, guys that you really want to see with the Browns, and what positions should they still be, tabulating and doing and talking about as we work our way through the first full day of free agency. We'll do that all coming up next on this episode of the Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
My friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things dog-bound. The Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the lady was so excited, she wanted to tell you all twice. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, your host, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd, at GBush91, part of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 on YouTube. On-air personality, 92.3 The Fan, barbershop open every Saturday. Appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen, whether it's your favorite podcast app, always available, always free. Of course, we are on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, got your notifications on. Appreciate all the new subscribers over the last couple of days. Obviously, always a busy, time of the NFL year as we have now officially kicked off the 2023 season. So thank you all for that. And of course, you got Roku. Go ahead and search Locked On Cleveland Sports. You will find the Locked On Browns, Guardians, Cavs, and of course, G and the crew over at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. As G. Bush said, it's been a little bit of crickets for a little bit now. It really has. Monday night, late, the hours G and I keep. It was a nice thing to wake up to on Tuesday morning. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a nice thing. Browns finally, and look, the room is not done. The issues at that position are not resolved, but it was one major step forward in correcting the issue. Dalvin Tomlinson, 6'3", 325 pounder. So first things first, right off the bat, significantly heavier than any defensive tackle the Browns have brought in during the Andrew Berry regime. When you get pushed around like they did against the run last year, you've got to go make significant changes. The structuring of the contract is done very nicely. It's very favorable for the Browns. The MO of the Andrew Berry work. Players get paid. Browns, find ways to get them their money, but not strain their cap. Tomlinson, originally a second-round pick out of the University of Alabama, 4 years with the New York Giants, played more interior of the interior defensive tackle, played a lot of one technique for the Giants, played more three tech in his time with the Minnesota Vikings, a player that can do both. He will get the opportunity to do both for the Browns, obviously, is what the game plan is here. You're going to take a player who has been successful like him, and you're going to give the opportunity to do what he does best. So you're going to switch it up. Could be, drive by drive, could be week by week situation of who you're playing. It also gives you flexibility towards going and bringing in a second defensive tackle. There's still some quality names on the board that the Browns can go after. But getting Dalvin Tomlinson done was key, in my opinion, just because you needed to get this rectified. And look, you can't keep saying, we'll draft people. Look, they're either not drafting the right people. They're either not developing the people. It's a pretty good combination of both, most likely. And you can't just say, Jordan Elliott's going to get it in year 4. Well, Tommy Togiai is going to get it in year 3. Perrion Winfrey's going to get it in year 2. I'm still holding that hope on Perrion, of course. Yeah, but I do believe I'm with you, Jake, but I do believe, that it was just the way to do it. You needed to go proven commodity here. They did. I know a lot of you wanted Draymond Jones, and look, I get the familiarity. I get the local ties, but to hand him $23.5 million for year 1, sorry, it's a pill I cannot swallow. He is an he's even smaller than defensive tackles the Browns have now. So I'm not sure how he truly would have been the guy that fixed it. But Dalvin Tomlinson is one big step in going towards correcting those issues, Jay.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, the Browns were in on that move. It came down to the money. They couldn't swallow the pill. He just got a little bit too much money, especially in that first year. I think the Browns were really interested in Draymond Jones. Now the thing with him, he was a tweener. He's more of a 3-4 end, a guy that could play, the 5 technique, and kind of post guys up a little bit, keep guys off linebackers. But the problem is, the Browns really needed a real specific position. They needed a defensive tackle that you could play 3 technique or 1 technique. Also needed a defensive end. So when they got what I like to call young OG, when they got him out there on that rush in 81 pass rush grade, according to PFF, I thought that was going to be tough to get Draymond Jones, because now he's a tweener. We needed an actual tackle, and Tomlinson fit the bill. The guy is stocky. The guy is used to keeping people clean. The guy is used to being big and nasty, 29-year-old, like you said. He recorded 93 starts in as many games, played it over 6 seasons for the Giants from 2017 to 2020. Also played for the Vikings from 2021 to 2022. Shows you that he could be durable. Shows you that he starts the game, he plays the game, giving you some of that impact inside. He signs the deal, $27 million guaranteed. Not bad at all. And they're going to sign him to a multiple-year deal as well, $57 million overall. So when I look at this move, I really like the fact that they got a guy that's nasty, that's big, and now what you can say is, okay, Perrion Winfrey, show me something. Perrion Winfrey, let's see if we can get something out of you. Let's see if we can get something out of some of the other guys that we talked about. And I like this. For what it's worth, Tomlinson has the 17th highest PFF grade for the 2022 season. Now let's look what the Browns had already in the pipeline. Oh. Taven Bryant, 93rd. Jordan Elliott, 192nd. Perrion Winfrey was 186. We hope you get better because you're a rookie. And Tommy Togiai, 195th. So this guy is a guy that's going to play the run. This guy's going to clog the middle. He has the 17th highest PFF grade for 2022. And so you can see this is already a massive upgrade mixed with the massive upgrade on the edge. Now they massively upgraded in the middle. I like the 2 moves. I give both of those moves a B so far for the Cleveland Browns, Jeff.
It was just work that had to be done. You can't continue to go this route and get pushed around by teams, in the run game. And the other thing is, it is so demoralizing that you're cashed out. So even when the teams start going to throw the ball, you're already beat up. I mean, run defense is just the simplest strategy of, be the hammer, not the nail. And, for last year, I mean, for damn near the entire season, they were the nail. There's just no way around it. Guys like Dalvin Tomlinson, that's not been his MO. And, he obviously, you want to keep him on the field nickel and dime. You certainly can. You want to kick Alex right inside. You want to kick Myles Garrett inside. While, Ogba, the young OG, comes in and does his work. You still have Isaiah Thomas. I still would love for the Browns to be an opportunity to maybe address the edge position at 42. Because the fact to me that you can maybe go out and get somebody more athletic and faster than Myles Garrett and add that to this equation, that's something that's really kind of got me salivating, and this class could possibly offer that, and that could be the best position they could get. Looking at the way the board could fall at 42, if they stay at 42, we all know the way that works. But Dalvin Tomlinson, look, in the history of the Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland Browns, he is already the best defensive tackle they've had, and he's not even been here for 48 hours. It's simple. There's no sugarcoating. This is how far and above a player he is than anybody that they've had play this position at this point. Taven Bryant will not be part of the Browns D-tackle room in 2023. 1 year, $4.5 million for with the Indianapolis Colts. So, it's Taven Bryant. Good luck. Obviously, you were the least rotten of the rotten apples last season for the Browns. But hey, man, you just keep sticking around, keep getting checks, make a nice life for yourself. So obviously somebody else, out of the Browns fold. One guy significantly out of the Browns fold And another guy just now out of the Browns fold. I've moved on, quarterback position. We're going to give a couple thoughts here as those two guys moved on. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, your latest Locked On Browns. It's FanDuel season, people. You've got the NCAA tournament. You've also got the NBA season coming down to a close. Now, look, you know what you can do with all this information? You can get to FanDuel. Download America's #1 sportsbook because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet does not win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to points scored and three-pointers drained by individual players. Plus, with FanDuel, you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Look, you're going to sit there for 2.5 hours, watch a game anyway. Find 5, 6 long shot bets. Throw $10 on it. It's cheaper than probably what you're paying to watch the game through cable or whatever you use, whatever streaming app you're using. And it hits, you might hit 150, 160. So not only do you get to enjoy your game, you get to make yourself some money. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome on back into Free Agent Frenzy on the Locked On Browns podcast. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, two names that we've heard a ton about in the last, I would say 5 years or so with this organization, is the former first overall #1 pick, Baker Mayfield. Some news on free agency. He has accepted a 1-year deal up to $8.5 million for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Goes into a system in which he's following up a great in Tom Brady. Tom Brady obviously retired, so Baker Mayfield's going to assume the helm over there. They do have some pieces and parts. Mike Evans is there. Godwin is there. They're looking to kind of, I would say retool a little bit. Levante David is a guy who went back to Tampa Bay. So a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that is two or 3 years removed from being the Super Bowl champs. Leonard Fournette, I think, may not be on that roster. He's in jeopardy of being on that roster out of there. They have a lot of stuff to work on. Their run game was atrocious last year. Baker played initially well and in LA under Sean McVay, but he kind of flatlined a little bit with the Rams at the end of the season. They didn't have Cooper Kupp. They didn't have a lot of the guys on the team. Obviously, Matt Stafford was out, so it was a little bit of a crapshoot with that. And the next guy, the guy we saw last year, who we thought played way better than what we thought he would, Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, it gets the up to $10 million deal with the Washington Commanders. Last year, Brissett threw for 2,608 yards, 12 touchdowns with only 6 interceptions. And it was actually his best 11-game stretch in his 7-year career. So he gets an opportunity to play. Sam Howell is a guy they drafted out of North Carolina. He was a mid-round pick there. And now it looks like he's going to go there and be with Eric Bieniemy, who's going to be the new offensive coordinator. Obviously, Bieniemy has done his thing with the Kansas City Chiefs, won multiple Super Bowls, and worked with the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. Let's see how that works out for Jacoby Brissett. He's going to get a big-time payday, $10 million. $8 million of that is guaranteed. So he's a good locker room guy. He's going to serve as a nice mentor. If Howell does come along and take the position a little bit earlier than they might have thought in Washington. But overall, I think they're two good landing places. I think it's the best place for Jacoby Brissett to land, actually. And I actually don't think it's a bad place to land in Tampa Bay if you're a Baker Mayfield as well. Your thoughts on two of those guys moving to different places?
And I'm trying to thumb through, here, keeping track of things. We have anything to break here. And Mary Kay Cabot, we love you, but you're killing me by now announcing that these signings are official. I see her page blowing up. I'm like, this is, oh man, we already do this. Started with Baker. Look, it's always been the craziest of rides. I mean, anybody who sat there that Thursday night game against the New York Jets, when he took this team from down, won, got this team its first W in God knows how long, and you are a lying dog if you didn't think he was the guy. You were a
Yeah.
liar. You're an absolute liar. 2019 came. 2020 came, and you're telling me when everybody went walking out of Pittsburgh, we all thought it. We did.
Yeah, you got something.
And, the injury happened, the discourse, the unpleasantness and the unwillingness of anyone to just get along and listen to anybody else's gripes. And basically what was going to be the foundation of the Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski regime, swirl it on down the toilet. But for Baker Mayfield, look, the guy just loves the game. He always has. It just, sometimes you get criticized in this world for being a guy who wears your heart on your sleeve, or, you're always told, you know what, don't say something because, and trust me, I know I had this conversation with my parents. Jeff, you may be right. But the problem is sometimes when you get into a confrontation, communications wise, you end up making an ass out of yourself because you either go too far. And was that the case for Baker Mayfield? Probably so. Carolina, Carolina, and we said it at the time. Matt Rule on his last legs in Carolina. Baker Mayfield basically trying to revive his career. It just wasn't going to work out. Then the Thursday night game comes. Baker Mayfield with some magic, a moment that he absolutely needed in his life. There's no question. Just needed that moment to say, well, you know what? I still got some bullets in the, in this. I still got some.
Yeah.
To Tampa, I don't know how it's going to work out. 1 second you're thinking Tampa's tearing it apart, and then they tell you they're re-signing Levante David for 1 year, 7 years. So, and the thing and I'll continue to say this with Tampa Bay, even without Tom Brady, I have no idea where the NFC South is going. So I honestly think you could have a team with a losing record yet again win the NFC South so far in 2023. Nobody looks to be standout until Carolina maybe goes and gets CJ Stroud. But even still, you got to think year one's going to be a little rough for the kid. Baker, Tampa. Look, what do I hope for? I hope he gets to play a year. And, we'll get a final destination. Has he resurrected his career or not? Because I know in Baker Mayfield's eyes, he does not believe his NFL career is over. For Jacoby Brissett and how well he played, and this team only could go 4-7. And a lot of it was not on him. There were obviously, a couple of late game turnovers. And, anybody who listened to any of us, what's the one thing you didn't want to do to Jacoby Brissett was make him have to go win you a game. Granted, Tampa Bay Buccaneer game was able to go out that and get that one for the team, obviously. But, I mean, what a job and what a spot for a guy to be put in. When he was signed here, had no idea what was coming his way. Is Deshaun Watson going to get suspended? Is it going to be minimal? Is it going to be forever? He had no idea. And you talk about what the mental makeup is and what it takes to be a professional athlete when you're not a star. And you're a star, guess what? Go screw up once, go screw up twice, go screw up 3 times. You probably still get your opportunities. Guys like Jacoby Brissett, it doesn't work that way. Everything you got to do everything right. You've always got to be everything by the book. And he was, even though this team was only 4-7, while he was a starting quarterback, in my opinion, through those first 11 games, he was the greatest thing to talk about. He was the brightest of bright spots because we saw a guy just go out there. And look, there were times where he went down and, oh boy, it didn't look good. You figured he wasn't going to back up. But this guy went out there every week, fought for this team. Sam Howell, I got to tell you, young man, if you think you're going to be the week 1 quarterback for the Washington Commanders, I buckle up some. I really would, because Jacoby Brissett, look, he's been through this everywhere he goes. Nobody wants to believe in Jacoby Brissett. He was down in Miami, at University of Miami. Nobody believed in him. Fine, I'm going to go up to NC State. Next time I see you guys, I'm going to kill you. And he did. Went to Indianapolis, found his opportunity, took it, ran. Miami, they ended up playing there, towards the end, with 2 of them in some time. 11-game run here. And the other thing I think with Jacoby Brissett is the way he's wired. He can be a number 2 quarterback in this league for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years if he chooses to be. I think whenever Jacoby Brissett wants to put his sights on coaching football in whatever aspect he wants to, it's going to be a great opportunity for him. And these are the type of guys that should be out there molding young men's minds, because the stars don't necessarily get it because it was always given to them and they were always coddled too. It's a lot different to be a guy like Jacoby Brissett. And you guys know, I always said, Jacoby Brissett looked like he was a guy who was maybe a decent athletic quarterback in the late 80s, early 90s. But he was able to find a way to make plays with his leg. When he ran, what I'm saying? And kind of like me, when you're making sure like you didn't step on your kids' Lego pieces, but the man went out there and performed week in, week out. And once he got the relationship going with Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, it was a great thing to see. Jacoby Brissett is just going to be a really, really difficult guy not to ever just root for. He's just, kind of guy you want to be friends with, kind of guy you want to keep in your inner circle. Just a solid individual. We're going to get some thoughts here on what is remaining. We're going to go scroll through again, see if anything is broke yet. Kind of need the floodgates to open here on a couple of these position groups, and we'll get to that here in segment 3. But Jeff Lloyd, G. Bush, the latest Locked On Browns. Ultimate Football GM is today's presenter. Is the official sponsor of today's episode. You've heard me talk about this mobile game app, this mobile game on your app store. Look, you get to run your team. You get to play the role of NFL GM. What does that mean? That means you are in charge of employing a coaching staff, hiring, firing players, free agency, draft. You need players. You have to go get them. You have to move on from players, which means you're releasing players. You have players come up to be free agents. Guess what? You have to re-sign them. You've got to go into free agency and find better talent, all while trying to navigate through a season, satisfying your owner with a decent record and satisfying your owner by making sure a bunch of your players do not end up suspended. So what you can do now is go to the App Store and download Ultimate Football GM. But Locked On Browns listeners, you get a 100% free boost to your franchise when you use the promo Locked On, all caps, LOCKEDON, all caps, no space, in the game store. Again, Locked On. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or go to the App Store on your phone. Ultimate-gm.com. Ultimate Football GM. Start your dynasty today.
Welcome back to the Locked On Brown podcast. We want to thank everybody for making Locked On Browns their first listen of each and every day. Continue to support us on YouTube. Moving up close to 5,000 right now. Continue to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notifications so you're aware of all of our content coming out as well. Jeff, we've been scouring the the pipeline here, and just waiting for some stuff to pop up, waiting for things to take care of themselves. We still have a flurry of guys that are still available in terms of free agents left on the board. There's guys who we had thought were going to be moved by now. Those guys aren't moved. I guess one of the smaller moves is Browns are still said to have some offers or actually expected to have some sort of interest in former tight ends, Chargers tight end Donald Parham. He's a guy that the Browns are still interested in. Guys at the top of the food chain. Bobby Wagner is out there still available. There's some other guys out there that are still Oliver Gardner. The free safety for the Eagles is still available. Donovan, one of our good old guys. Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there. I think he was working out earlier today too, as well, Jeff. He's out there in the market. And let's see, there's a couple more guys that were out there ready and available for the Browns to kind of to kick the tires on. There's still some rumors that the Browns are interested in trading for Jerry Jeudy. And
the Jerry Jeudy thing is the Browns would have interest, but apparently what Denver would be willing to move Jerry Jeudy on for, the Browns is essentially just don't have that right now. Yeah. And, and for Denver, who knows what is going on with Denver, because the same person that is reporting that Jerry Jeudy is now available was the one that was saying he wasn't. Obviously, maybe some things changed, once a new coaching staff came to town. Look, Jerry Jeudy is a very, very good player. Look, if the Browns had a first round pick, and the way this wide receiver class looks, I'd be totally fine with that. I truly would. But, I don't know if 42 is going to get it done. I don't know what it does for Denver.
I don't think they have enough, especially what they want for us to give that up anyway. Let's take a look at guys that are Cleveland Browns. I think former Browns, J.V. Clowney is still available. John Johnson is still out there. Kareem Hunt is another guy that's still out there and available. Nobody's really taking a flyer on him. And DeAndre Hopkins is another name that the Browns have been connected to for so long. The asking price on DeAndre Hopkins has been high as well, according to most of the outlets. So in general, a lot of the big name pieces and parts have not been moved on. A lot of the guys that are still out there that were out there during the day are still out there right now. So we'll keep in contact with you guys. And Jeff, anybody out there alarming that is still available that you didn't think would be available at this point?
I think for the Browns, you're still in a pretty good position here if you're looking at the defensive tackle group. Ashawn Robinson, another former Alabama Crimson Tide. Matt Ioannidis, former Temple guy, former Washington guy, now at Carolina. Poona Ford was a guy that I liked out of Texas as a possibility for the Browns during his draft cycle. Greg Gaines from the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, a decent enough player can come in here. Derek Nande, I've talked about him before, from the Chiefs. Florida State guy that I've always known. Shelby Harris was just released by the Seattle Seahawks the other day. Maurice Hurst, obviously you Buckeye fans probably remember Maurice Hurst, former Michigan Buckeye. There's still guys out there, and there's even a few more. And I definitely think, the onus has to be there. The Browns can't be in any position where they expect a rookie to come in here and succeed. Day number one, it's more now because Jim Schwartz is just a difficult defensive coach to play for. You know what I'm saying? You just don't walk in to a guy like Jim Schwartz's defense and just be like, oh, yeah, well, I'm the hotshot rookie. He don't care. He don't care at all, man. He'd be like, and Jim Schwartz will be the guy that says, you know what, just for that, we're going to get the tape and put your name on your helmet because, we're going to act like we don't know who the hell you are just because apparently you came in here thinking you know what's going on. But you got to go that route here. Look, the safety route, Julian Love, obviously still there. Juan Thornhill, still there. Everybody's still got, talks on the wide receivers. Jacoby Myers, for the money he got, the Browns weren't going to be in on that. Juju Smith-Schuster, that's great. You got your money, bro. You got to go play with Mac Jones. Yeah. Apparently Bill Belichick had to tell some of his coaching staff, take it easy on the kid because he crumbles if you start, beating him down verbally. So, Juju, whatever, man. I guess, look, if you want the money, you want the money. But I don't know how you go from playing from Patrick Mahomes winning a Super Bowl ring to now I'm going to go play with Mac Jones. I would have went into the Chiefs office and said, league minimum, and just give me bonus money. League minimum, and you set the bonuses, and I will make sure I get my money back that
around
way.
how many practices I make.
Yeah, but look, if you want me to stop TikTok, that's fine. I'll stop TikTok. You give me league minimum. You need me to catch 100 balls. I will catch 100 balls. I am not. I don't know how you leave playing with Patrick Mahomes. It makes zero sense to me on that standpoint. But look, there's still plenty of options out there for the Browns. It does seem strange that I would say that it almost like all of this just kind of like died. So it does seem weird with that. Yeah. Jadeveon Clowney, John Johnson III, for those curious, they will now be considered June 1st cuts. So, look, they are free to agree to terms with another team. For the Browns, it's a way to offset some of the money. So some of it comes off of some of it's applied to the 2023 cap. Some of it might be applied to the 2024 cap. It's just a way to move the money around and always give yourself the best resources. And also, here's the other thing. Even another name, Calais Campbell. I'm sure Baltimore's trying like hell to get him back.
36.
But if you told me 1 year, $7 million, Calais Campbell, all right. Fletcher Cox, all right. So I can go that route on either of those guys. The key is you understand that, you're not getting 100% of what these guys used to be, and you may not be getting them for 100% of the season. And, that's okay. It's okay. But because you drastically, the Browns have no choice in this, I don't think, because you're really, really behind the 8 ball here, G. Yep. So they gotta get guys in here. And even if the guy may have a ward or two, they're just going to have to accept it.
Yeah, there's, moving forward, I expect to see that with receivers. You're not going to find a receiver that catches the ball all the time, a guy that may not be a little bit older, a guy that's going to be a burner, or there's going to be, at this point, if you're a free agent or a trade target, there's something that has you on the market. So you have to be okay and accepting of that, because at the end of the day, those are the things that you have to just come to expect if you're on the market. So the Browns need to kind of hedge their bet the best as they can, get them a bunch of multiple guys in here that may be able to, work on upside and just take and flip the coin. Because like I said, very pivotal this year when you're talking about what the Cleveland Browns have to do. First 6 games are monumental. They need to hit the ground running. And I think they need to make sure that the roster and the cupboards are full.
It's where it is. That's the state of it. I think, in my opinion, what has been done to this point is been a really, really solid job. Mm-hmm. You've brought in a starting defensive tackle. You have re-signed your starting center. Now, Okoronkwo, Alex Wright, that's an interesting situation. If they feel Okoronkwo gives them better value as starting the game, that's fine. If they think Alex Wright's probably a little bit better versus the run, and Agbo comes in as, more nickel dime, or he comes in as the third DN, that's fine too. But either way, you're covered. So, with these signings, that's 3 starting positions solidified. So for me, I feel truly good about what has been done here. Certainly more work to be done. So obviously Dalvin Tomlinson in the fold, Jacoby Brissett, all the best, man. And I think the better thing about it is it's the NFC. So you want to know what? And we just played y'all, so we ain't got to worry about Jacoby Brissett. You know what? Go out, shock the NFC East, have a great, great year. Baker Mayfield, the Baker Mayfield discussions will never be over. We'll all be 97 years old, and we won't be fumbling on that. No, but we'll be speaking like that, and there'll still be arguments over Baker Mayfield. So we all kind of get that one here. And what's left? Plenty of work to be done for the Browns, and plenty of ways to still accomplish their ultimate goals. Appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day, whether it is, of course, here on your favorite podcast platform, of course, on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. You've got the notifications on. And, of course, go ahead and check out Roku. Search Locked On Cleveland Sports. You will find us. You will find Locked On Guardians, Locked On Cavs, G and the crew over at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Now, however, they'll make your second listen, Locked On NFL Scouting, with my good friends Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino. Kyle hosts Locked On Dolphins. Joe hosts Locked On Bills. They take you through what it's like to build a successful NFL franchise every Monday through Friday. Find Locked On NFL Scouting with Joe and, of course, Kyle, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. G Bush at GBush91. Part of the crew over at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, on-air personality, 92.3 The Fan, every Saturday morning, barbershop open for business. Myself, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Locked On Browns, follow back account, as everybody knows. We told you, we covered all the good stuff. We're waiting for more to come here. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on ELOB. Let's go, Browns.